Hi everyone, it's Chenso from RealityArtPod here to talk about everything that happened week 9 on Big Brother 26. Last week, Chelsea's HOH spelled the end of Quinn's chaotic run in the BB house. Before I dive in, if you want to catch up, I put a link in the description where you could watch my previous recaps and rankings. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing, but let's get into it with Sunday's episode. We pick back up on day 59 where after Quinn's departure, Ainsley just told the house guest that she's taking a siesta for the week and will be replaced by her little friend. The house guests are rightfully nervous about her young trainee because Ainsley is terrible at her job, always messing up, and she said he's worse than her. Leah is upset after losing Quinn. She and Angela were the only two votes to keep Quinn, wrongly voting to evict Chemo for the second week in a row. Angela tells the house that she really didn't want to evict Chemo, which annoys Chelsea because she said the same thing last week. Chelsea doesn't want to hear it. Angela feels it was obvious to the house that Chemo, Rubina, and T-Core are an obvious trio that need to be broken up. She confronts the trio in the living room, thinking they're whispering about her, and explains herself. Angela actually makes valid points, but T-Core doesn't find it necessary to march up to them and announce that they're a threat. They finally get to meet Ainsley's assistant, Jankey, who is so cute and loves to have fun, eat ice cream and pizza, sing and dance. He invites them to Jankey World in the backyard, so they head out back and it's Jankey World, where there's a whole carnival for them to enjoy. They learn that they'll be in Jankey World all week, and things get sadistic when Jankey brings down the gates, locking them in the backyard for the week. They even do diary rooms outside all week, where the audio quality is terrible. They also have to sing the Jankey theme song, which has similarities to Barney's I Love You, You Love Me, 90s Kids Rise Up. They have to sing along with it every time, and dance on the dance floor when they're summoned, and even go to the bathroom and shower outside. Jankey wants to have s'mores, so for the HOH competition, they'll be toasting their marshmallow by holding it on a stick against a button, and the last player standing will win HOH. This is an iconic competition from long-lost BB26. It was a lot better when it played out on the live feeds, but sadly, we didn't get to see this on the feeds for no good reason, and we really missed out on an important HOH where we see two trios in T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo, and Mackenzie and Cam representing non-competing ally Chelsea, with Angela and Leah competing for their duo partnership. Jankey also chimes in with silly jokes, and oh my god, Jankey is so cute. T-Core is out first, followed by Chemo and Mackenzie. Angela tries to make a deal with Cam to step down, saying she's not messing around, but Cam doesn't take it. Rubina drops at 5 hours, taking her trio out of the competition. Angela then gets Cam and Leah to all agree to keep each other safe. At 9 hours, after making a deal, Angela graciously bows out, saying she'd rather see the other two get a letter. Cam and Leah agree to stand on one foot to hurry things along, which trips Cam up, giving Leah her first HOH win of the season. She lasted for almost 10 hours, and is celebrated by a rendition of Jankey's song, which at this point is giving me a headache already. Leah's HOH benefits Angela and Cam, who both made a deal with her and probably would have been safe anyway, but Chelsea is worried because she was considering Leah as a renom last week. Leah comes to Mackenzie for advice, and Mackenzie of course tells her to target T-Core's trio. Mackenzie is pleasantly surprised that Leah is forgiving her for voting to evict Quinn. The house guests really struggle being outside all day, and fans were upset about this, but I really don't have sympathy since being outside all day is normal on Survivor and Love Island, and there truly are worse things than being outside. Before nominations, Chelsea campaigns to Leah, who has successfully been convinced by Mackenzie to target the other trio. Chelsea is happy to hear that Leah is doing it because she doesn't want to have taken the shot at the trio herself. After consulting with Cam, Mackenzie, and Angela, Leah plays her nomination game, nominating house guests by ring toss, placing rings on the nominees' bottles. She nominates Rubina and Chemo, followed by an awkward dance party, which leads us to Wednesday's episode. The Wednesday episode picks up at the awkward dance party where Jankey World has made Leah baby.
Sorry, everybody.
Chemo is upset because he's nominated again and admits that he didn't even try to have a one-on-one with Leah. They then show a completely staged conversation where Leah gives her whole chubby chaser skit, complete with this acting.
So you're kind of a chubby chaser.
Is that the name?
So you don't know this? No!
This is great acting. For a low-budget movie, it felt so much like production told them to talk about this to fill time on the show. Very similar to when they do the end-of-season clip show. Where is the integrity in the arts? Back to reality, where Angela tells Rubina that she feels guilty for voting Chemo out twice. She thinks Leah should have nominated T-Core instead. T-Core is really annoyed with Angela, telling Rubina that she can't stand Angela's voice. I feel like T-Core has to really dislike someone to talk like this. Since Leah will never nominate Angela, T-Core worries for her position in the game and rightly feels like she needs to win this veto to keep her alliance intact. The house guests are treated to an ice cream party, which upsets Mackenzie, who gets emotional missing her family, saying she's missing her dad's birthday, with a cool and different scene where they show us childhood photos of Mackenzie with her family. Jankey calls a dance party to dance away those tears. After T-Core does a terrible cartwheel, they pick players for the veto competition where Angela, Chelsea, and T-Core are picked to play. So the stage is set, a high-pressure veto for T-Core and her chance to keep her team together. Chelsea also wants to win so that T-Core doesn't win. That would put Chelsea's allies in jeopardy. They get to their Jankey veto competition hosted by Cam. It's simple, they have 10 circular candy pieces and they have to fit all 10 of them into their circular tabletop. The first person to finish it will win the veto and the second place finisher will win the mysterious Jankey veto, but more on that later. They get started and it's just a lot of them moving their pieces around and hoping that they're right until they they find out they're wrong. Angela is talking to herself the whole challenge, distracting and annoying the other players. Angela eventually figures it out and wins the veto in what seems like a really hard mental competition. They keep playing for the Jankey veto while Angela screams and shakes the earth as she messes up her pieces so they can't copy. Eventually, Leah comes in second and wins the Jankey POV, declaring herself the Jankey queen. The Jankey veto can only be used as a real veto if Leah completes a challenge at the veto meeting. T-Core is disturbed by the veto results and knows this obviously is not good for her group. Angela decides she's going to use her veto to purchase Chemo's forgiveness and insinuates to him that she'll use it on him. Chemo hopes this is true, but also hopes that T-Core isn't the replacement nominee. Chemo tries to campaign to Leah, arguing that he and his allies don't win anything and shouldn't be targeted. Angela then meets with Leah and tells her that she's going to use the veto on Chemo. Angela encourages Leah to put up T-Core, but they feel like Rubina would go home against T-Core. Leah tells us that she plans to use both of the vetoes to put Chelsea and T-Core on the block together, but that would depend on her winning the Jankey veto challenge. At the veto meeting, Leah has to knock down 5 bottles with 3 softballs to activate her veto. She's terrible at it and doesn't get any bottles and loses the veto. As planned, Angela decides to use her veto on Chemo, and Leah nominates T-Core in his place, making Leah the only player this season to avoid being nominated so far. Moving on to Thursday night, where Julie is perfectly dressed for an 80-degree day in Los Angeles, in a gray knit sweater and a megalodon's tooth around her neck. After the veto meeting, Rubina is upset and crying. Chemo now has to decide between Rubina and T-Core. Leah feels guilty and cries, but she hopes that T-Core leaves. Chelsea plans to fight for T-Core to stay. Cam thinks that T-Core should go, but is worried about how Chelsea would react if he brings that up. Angela pledges her vote to evict T-Core, and Mackenzie agrees. They only need one more vote to make it official. Rubina finds out that she has these 2 votes and subtly campaigns to Chemo, but can tell she doesn't have Chemo's vote. Jankey then tortures the house guests even more with dance parties, telling them to roll that butt.
Hey everyone!
Hey, everyone!
Hey everyone! Hey everyone!
At night, Cam moves his bed closer to Mackenzie's, which of course pisses Chelsea off. Chelsea even snaps on Cam a bit, storming off with her whole cot. After, he tries to talk to her, and she accuses him of toying with the women. He says he's just trying to fit in. I mean, he's in a house with mostly women. It's not really fair to say if he hangs out with women, he's toying with them. We go live, and Julie rings into the backyard, where Jankey interrupts, telling them to sing Jankey's song. Julie's like, I picked the wrong week to call out sick. She should have left this one to Jerry too. The nominees make speeches from their lawn chairs, with both ladies giving speeches where they talk each other up. That's on friendship. The house guest votes to evict T-Core are Mackenzie, Cam, Chelsea, and Angela, and vote to evict Rubina is Chemo. So Julie reveals that by a vote of 4-1, T-Core is evicted. The house guests are all devastated, and T-Core has to take a long walk alone through the house, which is actually quite sad. In the interview, firstly, the photos they put up are so cute. Our T-Core really is that girl. T-Core is smart, measured, and self-aware. They show her goodbye messages, which they don't always do, and they don't show a message from Rubina, which is kind of messed up, but they cracked her with these messages because they got T-Core crying, and she doesn't cry easily. So we have to say goodbye to T-Core here, who I originally ranked highly, ranking number 2 overall off first impressions, and I had her toward the top of my rankings every week, even putting her number 1 last week for positioning. She came in saying she was going to be the weird girl in the corner and then turn her game on in the end, but I don't think she was expecting to make so many friends. The other house guests loved her, with Tucker even giving her $5,000 just to give it to her. In the beginning, she was playing a great under-the-radar game, being in the collective, but she and Chemo decided to turn on the Pentagon. While that was questionable, I feel like she'd be even worse off being in a final 8 situation here with the Pentagon and just her and Chemo without Rubina against them. So ultimately, I do think they made the right move there, but from there, her game ends up just being her, Chemo, and Rubina with Tucker, but then they lose Tucker. But T-Core just ends up being the front person for this 3-person alliance. And ultimately, while she felt she would be the weird girl in the corner, she was too popular for her own good, had too many friends, and the amount of friends and people that love her was ultimately the reason why they sent her home. I feel like that's something she should feel good about. She's only 23 years old. I'd like to see her back, but I'd be more interested in seeing her play like 28, 30 years old. I love her. I think she's super interesting. I think she should host a crochet competition show on HBO Max. After T-Core's departure, Julie sends it back to the house, where Jankey takes over one last time for a competition called Eye Candy, where they need to stack all of Jankey's candies on an eye. They'll have an hour to play and will lock in their score when they're confident in their stack. The player with the most candies stacked and locked in before the time goes off wins. They get started, and from what I can see, Angela and Chelsea have the right idea from the beginning of how this should go. While they play, Julie tells us that next week will be the double eviction and sends it back to the house, where Angela is absolutely demolishing the competition. This woman is so good at candy competitions, it's insane. So that's where we leave off. I'd be shocked if Angela doesn't win this competition. Let me know in the comments, who do you think will be the next HOH, and what do you think about T-Core's departure? I'll be back later tonight with my updated week 9 rankings. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. Right now, I'm covering Survivor, The Challenge, and Big Brother. It's a lot of work, but I like it. I'll see you when I see you. Until next time, have a nice weekend. Bye.